All right, everyone. I think we're live again. We're jumping right in. No intro today. We'll probably be back up with that either next week or who knows, but not this week. Also, I think we're only streaming to YouTube. So in case anybody was wondering or is wondering why the Twitch and Twitter aren't showing up on the live stream right now, I think our account lapsed or something in between the time that you and I streamed, Anthony, few days ago and now. So I must have missed that. But
which channel in the Discord did you want me to share this in?
Yeah, just general. So we'll share the link on general. Welcome, both of you guys. Anthony, you were with me just a few days ago. We were talking about your work with getting platform, connecting to platform through various web frameworks. And Mikhail, welcome back to the stream today. We chatted about wanting to have a show about what the experience will be and can be with web developers connecting to Dash platform. Because right now, I think the first application that Dash platform will be used for will be primarily Dash Pay, and that's primarily a web and not a web. That's a mobile app. So, but what we want is for web developers to be able to leverage Dash platform as well. So obviously we have the JavaScript SDK, which we've been using and several people in the community have used to build applications. Dash Money has several applications that he's built using the Dash.js SDK. But we wanted to chat a little bit more about that in detail. And Mikhail, what are your thoughts on so far? You've done quite a bit of work on connecting to Dash platform, both like developing Dash platform as well as connecting on the consumer side. So what is it overall that you wanted to chat about today regarding Dash platform and the web application of that?
Yeah. So the most complex problem here is that to build decentralized applications in web, you need to use Dash platform protocol, which is coded in Wasm right now in the Rust, which is translated into Wasm. And the whole size of the bundle is pretty big. So right now it's about 30 megabytes that adds 30 megabytes of size to a web application in order to even just create a transaction or read some stuff, read state transitions and stuff like that. And I know that that's the thing that DSG has not yet, they didn't do anything about that yet. So it's on their list. They should have some kinds of optimizations, but I don't know how much can it be less than 30 megabytes. Like 30 megabytes is unacceptable for the web. So that's the main issue, that if you bundle your applications, it will be downloading really, really long. And if you want to build an extension, you also have to bundle it inside the extension. And for extension, we have another problem that the Dash SDK works like SPV client, and it downloads all the information about the transactions, about the blocks, and all the stuff, all the on-chain stuff from the network. So it's like 30 megabytes that you need to have in your application for just to run the code, and then you need to have like hundreds of megabytes over the network to download all the stuff, all the chain stuff.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to share my screen right away while you were talking. Sorry, now that I'm the owner here, I just
removed it
to get it ready. But I I was trying to do that bundle phobia thing that I've done it before on screens.
Actually, you can open it on the npm. It also shows the bundle size of the dash.
npm. Okay.
Yeah. So the main issue is it's hard to bundle. It's hard to use, hard to do stuff with the platform because of these issues. Yeah. Hopefully, well, Wasm DPP could be reduced in size. I'm not sure how much. DCG, like they say that like it's a problem that could be solved. Well, yeah, but I don't know how less can it be. There are a lot of code that you can't just remove, like the proofs, the functions of the proofs of cryptographical proofs, some validation stuff and stuff like that, maybe not needed inside the web application. Yeah. So yeah, that's the most my concerns. That I don't know. It's hard for developers to get into it.
Yeah, it does work because I mean we've seen it. I've used like Dash Money's applications and it does work. I've been around the web space enough to know, and Anthony, you could chime in on this as well. People are building entire frameworks just to get their bundle sizes extremely performant, and that's kind of Anthony, tell us about the web framework land that you've been a part of, at least adjacently and just being in these communities. I'm thinking particularly of the Quick framework and then Remix. Remix, for example, was one of those frameworks that was purchased by, it's a React framework and purchased by, remember the company again? It's an e-commerce.
Shopify.
Yeah, Shopify. We were talking about Shopify a few weeks ago, and one of the reasons that they purchased that was so that they could have great, fast experiences on Shopify. Like e-commerce is known for really needing fast, performant websites so that people don't just ditch out of their planned purchase because there's something loading. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce that, but give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think performance has been one of the kind of killer features that almost every framework has been working towards. Like that's been the big pitch for things like Solid, and things like Marco, things like Million.js. I would say some of them are aiming for, like Astro is a good example of one where they are aiming for as little JavaScript as possible. So they're going for like a really small kind of bundle size. Whereas other ones, if they're using React, they may have a lot of JS they need to ship, but they can make it performant kind of in other ways through like really clever rendering methods and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of been the one thing that everyone has struggled with is like, how do we make this performant if we also need to ship a crap ton of JavaScript at the same time? And that's always kind of going to be an issue. I guess with this thing we're talking about right now, I'm just kind of curious, like, why Wasm, and is that specifically why we ended up with such a large bundle?
Wasm, because Wasm allows you to execute it in many environments, in basically any language, and the whole system was rewritten in Rust just recently, and team just they agreed on this solution to run the platform code on any system. Like on the mobile, you can use Wasm on the mobile, in the web, on any language, like, you know. So that was the concern, DCG's concern.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about Mikhail, a little bit more about the Dash.js package, the what's just DASH on npm? That has embedded Wasm code in the JavaScript, right? And is that so that they could reuse what they're using on, like, are they doing away with all of the independent they meaning DCG? Is DCG doing away with all of the independent SDKs for Kotlin and Swift? And I know they're building a Rust one as well. So are they trying to just have one SDK and that's embedded into and with bindings?
Yes.
How exactly is it working?
Yeah, there are different components. Some are written in the pure language, but yeah, the overall idea is to have just one REST SDK that will just generate Wasm bindings, and then you can use it on any system. So yeah, previously Dash SDK was written in JS, and whole the system was built on JS. So
but
all
it's
the
still
stuff,
built in JS, right? Like when
it's
I
written-
import the the dash library from npm, I'm
yes,
running
it's still,
JavaScript code. But what's different now?
well, right now all the platform stuff, like creating the transactions, decoding state transitions and stuff like that, it's all uses the Wasm the Wasm bindings. There are still JS code like that lets you generate addresses, send L1 transactions and stuff like that. But I think, as I know, they plan to move it to the Rust code as well, so that they will maintain it in one, just like they will maintain it in Rust and just support all the languages.
Okay.
All the environments.
So that's a future change then, is what you're saying? So right now what we're seeing here on Dash on the npm repository is that will the Dash package be different in the future, or
No, the API inside the Dash SDK will be the same, but the calls they will be reforwarded to the REST DPP package through the Wasm.
okay. All right. Yeah, so what are you suggesting then? Like what do you think we should do about this? Because I know from the incubator side, from what my corner of the incubator has done in the past is we've built a bunch of packages for payments, and we would like to support Dash platform through just normal JavaScript calls, so that we can do away with, like, if you look back here just real briefly at the dependencies here on the Dash npm package, there's just a ton of dependencies. You
Yeah.
have Dash core lib is one of the biggest offenders in terms of bundle size, and then wallet lib as well. I think that we could probably get those to bundle on Bundlephobia, but I've done that before, so I won't necessarily go into it again. But I just know that these are very big, very bloated, very old dependencies that have dependencies of themselves as well. So if you looked at the npm lock script that you get when you're building an application, and you see what all those dependencies, what all of these dependencies are building under the hood, that they're dependent on, and that those dependencies are dependent on. It's a huge
Welcome
tree.
to JavaScript.
Yeah, and so what we did is we kind of started years ago in building our own dependencies in the Dash incubator under the Dash Hive subgroup, and we would like to implement and connect platform to that at some point. But so is that kind of what you're suggesting? That not that you're suggesting that, but is that something that we should work on in the incubator if we want to slim the size and make it more performant?
Basically, there are two approaches. First approach is to help DCG with their Wasm DPP bundle to reduce their size, but I'm not sure how long can it go, really. Like, probably we can cut like 3 times the size, but can it go less, like 10 megabytes, 5 megabytes? Well, it's still too large for the web. Maybe you can
just the Wasm DPP part, you're saying?
Yeah.
I'm
So
looking at that right now.
maybe you can break it down into smaller entities. So I'm not sure. There should be research. The second approach would be create our own set of libraries that will, for example, only create transactions. For example, creating transactions shouldn't be a problem without Wasm DPP, but there should be a lot of work for for encoding those transactions. You can encode transactions yourself, but you need to read all the platform code, how it composes the transactions. I think even DCG doesn't know really much about it.
Yeah.
Like they know the places where it's going, but they don't know all the places maybe. And yeah, there are pros and cons in both approaches. Like personally, I really like to have our own solution because it will enforce us to follow the protocol. Like the protocol will be revised from the both sides.
Yeah, I would like just the very basics of the protocol itself to have its own little sub package that we could bring in just for the Dash platform connections.
Yeah, the more implementations we have, like the most stabilized system will be, because it will be reviewed from the different sides, from the different parties.
Right.
Yeah, and it's also good to have some sort of third-party API, just like we have the Platform Explorer, for example, right now. I think we should utilize those APIs to add cache layers to application. For example, Dash Money application reads everything straight from the network, but it takes some time. So I think it's a good idea to cache some stuff, like cache some documents through the Platform Explorer, for example. You can do it, and yeah, and also I think it should help in some cases.
214 seconds to load on slow G 3G.
Yeah. So I finally got it to work. I finally got Bundlephobia to work to actually package the Dash library itself.
But how fast will it download with the Neuralink into your brain?
Yeah, I don't know. But this is the latest version. So Dash 3.25 that we have, 0.22, and I guess would be moving up to a 4.0 when because this is based on the 25th, like the 0.25 platform.
There's a 4.0 dev thing that you could install.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, the previous time.
So I should have done that in a different tab, but I guess we'll see if this bundles. So this is based on the 1.0-dev.8 of Dash platform. And so they actually did bump it up to 4.0. So we'll see if this, but while that's doing its thing, I was just opening some of the sub libraries that it depends on so I could see what those are. And so you were saying, Mikhail, that the Wasm DPP package itself was one of the bigger ones, and you're right.
It's the biggest issue, like with the sense of the Wasm DPP, because it basically includes everywhere, even in JS DAPI client, which is just fires some connections at the DAPI, which just connecting like gRPC, making gRPC calls, HTTP calls. It uses just one part of the Wasm DPP, but it grows the bundle up to 30 megabytes just because it uses some decoding, some platform errors or stuff like that. Like not really much that is using there.
Yeah, so I've ordered these so far. Let's see if this is completed. Didn't complete. We'll try that again. I've ordered these in size in the order of size. So this one's adding minified and gzip to 10.4. This is the wallet lib that's part of the Dash.js package, and that was actually bigger than Wasm DPP. They're about the same, 30 megabytes, 27.7 megabytes, and then 1.3 megabytes for the Dash core lib. So yeah, I mean, well, I guess this didn't complete. I should try to go back. Oh, there we go. It did. So actually, yeah, this is what I was hoping to see, because I noticed that the Dash Money on the Discord, he said that the latest package did actually reduce the size, and this is what we're seeing here. So the one that we were looking at before was way up here, 3.25.25 or 0.22 was way up here at 30 megabytes and 10 gzipped, and then for some reason, somehow, the 4.0, which is based on the 1.0 dev branch of Dash platform, is down here, shaved off a bunch of size, and I'm not sure how it did that because as I was seeing, Dash Money was saying thanks for doing this, DCG, and Shumkov came back and said we didn't really do anything there, at least that they knew of, but obviously something did happen. So do you know anything about this, Mikhail?
No, not really. I didn't see that. Actually,
Yeah,
I think
back down.
Actually, I thought that Dash Money was wrong for quite time.
Well, and we don't know if it's working yet. At least I don't know, because Dash testnet platform testnet has been down as well. So
for what I was working with, I didn't see that change. The bundles was still pretty big for me. But
even on this, have you tried this Dash 4.0 Dev 8?
Yeah, I believe so.
And it was big for you as well?
So
let's look at NPM. NPM looks like it's still looking at 3.25. I don't know how to
go to the versions tab all the way on the right.
Okay, versions. There we go.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, looks like it reduced. The 33 megabytes, it's the size of the code and source maps. The real code twice less.
So the only thing that I'm wondering is if there might have been some kind of package missing accidentally that needs to be.
I don't think so. No. I don't think that's the reason, because everything releases automatically through the GitHub Actions. So
okay, so we'll keep looking at that. But even if that is the case, let's see. We still have minified and gzipped at 5 megabytes. That's much better than it was at 10, but still, Anthony, is that you put on your web developer cap as just a consumer of something.
People freak out about 100 kilobytes these days. So if you're at this, most web developers would say this is completely untenable.
Yeah, definitely not desirable. And so I know if for me, I'm a Dash guy, and we're all Dash guys here. And even you, Anthony, are, you're a blockchain guy, you're a Dash guy now, to some degree. At least we might, because of that, we might excuse this and say, that's just the price that you pay for being able to have this awesome payments and authentication and storage capability into my application. I just want to meet those developers where they are and with their expectations, and not have to say, okay, you're going to have to swallow whatever you've spent weeks and months and years trying to get your bundle size and your application size down to whatever, 400 kilobytes. Here's 5 megabytes for you to add on so that you can add Dash platform and storage. And I just don't want to have to ask developers to do that. I think that people that are not into crypto, they just won't. I don't want this to be a blocker for them. So anyway, that's what I hope to be able to fix. And Mikhail, it sounds like you're thinking this as well.
Yeah, there is also one thing that we could do is the extension. If we do the extension, I think we can move the calls to the extension. So if it will be holding all the stuff, all the libraries, and does not expose it,
they kind of do more like a tree shaking kind of thing.
I mean, the front end shouldn't really need to include the library if it's already bundled into extension.
Right.
So, but with the extension, we come to another problem that if we want to do this decentralized, the synchronization of your transactions and stuff like that, you still have to download a lot of data. Like the way the Dash SDK works right now, it connects to the master nodes, downloads the blocks from the network. It checks the transactions. If the transactions, if there are transactions belonging to your wallet, it looks like it's just. I mean, there are a trade-off in the extension because you can really make a lot of transmit a lot of data, a lot of data into extension. You can't really save a lot of data into extension. It's also not really secure. So there are no secure storage for holding your keys and stuff like that. So there are also some cons in that approach.
Yeah, and I know that Ash is actually working on the extension from the incubator side. Ash has been the one that's been building the Dash Pay extension. So maybe we'll have to have him on to see if what his plans are with the extension itself. So
might be.
yeah.
So the best way for the developers is that they will have it like the way the extensions would work. The users would download the extension, and from developers side of view, they don't need to do nothing. Like they will just use the extensions API that will be exposed to the front end page as long as the user just logs in, opens the web application.
Right. So the expectation there would be that application developers, they would build their applications to communicate with an extension instead of having
Yes.
Dash.js package in their application itself.
Yes. That would reduce the size of the bundles of the web applications.
Of the applications themselves. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that would be better. And that's what most of the industry is doing right now with things like MetaMask. I don't know, I don't like MetaMask personally, but I don't think that there's a problem with extensions themselves. So that might be a good solution to pursue. What do you think is your best estimate of timing on this, Mikhail, with Dash platform releases on testnet and mainnet? I know you're not part of DCG anymore, but you have a good insight on how much time.
I don't know. A lot of things that we have to do, and not so much developers active. There are not so much developers that we would like to have there. I can't really tell you when it will happen, but what I see is that core features are done. The core features are working. That we finishing some side stuff, like doing some really hard tests in the network. So we gotta keep it going, and yeah.
So you had a screen share that you said you might want to share. Is now a good time for that?
Yeah, I can do it. So basically, what I was worked on the last few weeks is that I was I was tuning and finishing the API endpoints. I was doing the integration tests for each endpoint that I have in the Explorer API. So right now it's all fully covered. Every endpoint works like it should be. And my plan on the Platform Explorer is to extend the API with the more calls that developer would use for their Dash platform applications. For example, you can query identity, you can query You can query balance of the identity. You can query documents, data contracts. You can check the document without connecting to the masternode network. Yeah, so that was one thing I was working on, and yeah.
Does this Explorer? Are you able to hook this up with networks DevNets that you deploy yourself?
Yes. I can connect Platform Explorer with the testnet and with any other chain that will be live. If that's what you ask.
Yeah, and have you done that much? Have you spun up your own DevNets? I was having AJ look into this.
Yeah, I was working with the DevNets. I was working with the Dash, what's called Dash Network Deploy tool.
Yep.
I was working quite a lot with it. Haven't done yet in like for the half past year, but I have good understanding of this tool, how to run DevNets. But it just requires a lot of nodes. Like for running a DevNet network, you to acquire platform forums, you gotta get like I remember 12 nodes or stuff like that. So you gotta have 12 nodes in your DevNet. So it's so it costs pretty expensive.
Yeah, and you're doing it. You were doing it when you were doing it. It was you were using AWS, I assume, right?
Yeah. I was using AWS account that was giving me like DCG gave me an account that I can work.
And do you still have that account, or are you, if you wanted to pick up DevNet development in the future, would you be setting up your own account through Incubator, or at least separate from DCG, or would you use theirs? Because I'd like to be able to have anybody. I'd like to have documentation for anybody to be able to spin up a DevNet if they want.
DevNet is more like for the infrastructure team. Like it's more like internal tool for launching the networks. So it's more question is do we want to have a separate network from the testnet, like to test our things? But here comes the second thing, like we will have to maintain it. Like if it gets broken, we will have to fix it, and it costs pretty a lot. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
To like, it's a good idea to have it, but it also comes with some costs, some underlying costs.
Absolutely. I think that the reason that you would want it is to be able to keep developing on Dash platform even when testnet is down, which it's been down for almost a month, it seems now. So that's why I was looking into it. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have testnet back up again soon so that we can just develop against that. But I do think it might be a good option to be able to have a DevNet as well. Just if we want to be able to make suggestions for a platform itself.
I think we can do it. So the question is, who will be using it? Like if there is a demand for that, I can deploy it right away. Like it's not really a big problem.
Okay, well, we'll talk offline about that. Anything else from you guys that you wanted to chat about today? I think that we'll probably just leave it as a shorter show, unless anybody else has anything that they wanted to say regarding web development on Dash platform. My biggest, while you're thinking about what you had to say for as far as closing remarks, my big hope is that Dash platform will allow web developers to have a storage solution that is robust, that is reliable, and primarily that is easy to use, easier than setting up your own database. And if we can accomplish that, then I think that will take a big burden off of lower to mid-level engineers who know front-end technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but need some kind of back-end persistent database. And maybe they need the proof system, maybe they don't. But if it's convenient enough, then it'll be great for them to be able to build applications just for the convenience sake alone. So that's my goal, is to make it so convenient that it's just easier than using something like spinning up your own database. But what are your thoughts on this, guys?
I think that's a good goal. I think if you had that goal 3 years ago, it would have been a lot easier, because there's a lot of really easy ways to set up databases now.
That's my biggest concern right now, as
Yeah.
I've been looking at the web space, is, well, you've been involved in this professionally as well, just being able to have very simple, there's all sorts of easy database as a service things right now. So
yeah, but I think you can still, the way you can really get an edge would be like not just having it easy to set up a database, but having like templates and repos already set up. So it's just like clone this from these commands, and then it's like, boom, it's there. Like that's still something you could do. And if it's all connected to the blockchain and there's nothing you need to like spin up, no resources you need to deploy, then you can still kind of get that like instant, like run a command and there it is type experience.
Yeah. And that would assume that route that developers are using the Dash SDK in their own applications, and then you would want it nice and slim if they were going that route. So Mikhail, final thoughts on using Dash platform in web environments?
Yeah, we are waiting for it. Like we gotta do some work to make it good. To make it good, we gotta do some work. So getting towards it. Yeah. So nothing really much else to say.
Okay. Well, I'm going to continue going down the path of trying to get DevNet set up, just so that it's easier to develop against something that you control as the developer yourself. And if we can get those costs down, like you're saying, Mikhail, it's pretty expensive, but I think AJ had some ideas of ways to be able to do it without having to have multiple nodes. But it was above my head how to do that. But I just want to be able to, when platform is ready, I want it to be ready for web developers as well, not just ready for DashPay and the mobile
Sure.
uses.
Of course.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll keep working on it. And next week we'll see it, and we'll talk then. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.